here it is. Not only another heartbreaking defeat. When you think you're finally going to end the losing streak for the season, the losing streak against the Packers, and then have it end that way. It's a crusher. So, like, I understand why a lot of people...
Who took it harder, you or your son?
Oh, my son, for sure. Yeah. My oldest son, I have video on...
Well, he doesn't even have the memory of the length of this dominance. Now 11 times. How many has he seen?
You're right. Well, I mean, he's been alive for all of it because the last Bears win was 2018. His first Bears game in person was 2018. But he doesn't remember all of it because he was 4 in 2018. He really took it hard. And, the video shows, it's posted on my story on Instagram. And he you could hear him yell. Good snap, good hold, and he even says good kick, and you see him he did the arms up. He thought it was good. Is that a bad sign when you put your arms up? And
no,
you
I think it's
going to be
sign,
good.
But I think that at that point, I think he was living in a dream world.
Yes, yeah.
Or didn't have a good view of the ball being tipped.
So I was filming, and I normally never film a end of game scenario. But I knew one of two really cool things would happen. One, the Bears would finally beat the Packers and my kids would be celebrating. Or two, something like that would happen and I would get the moment where, Mason especially takes these losses much harder than his younger brother. And he went down to his knees and started banging the floor with his hands. And he wanted to know what happened. What happened? How did that happen? And then I don't even know if he knows that I posted it.
Well, the field goal kicker did not get enough trajectory, and the left side of your offensive line didn't provide enough support. And there could have possibly been a little shenanigans taking place from the Green Bay front. But at the end of the day, it was their 11th straight loss to the horrible team from up north.
That's what happens. They find ways to lose for a variety of reasons, whether it's the Packers doing something illegal, whether it's Matt Eberflus not looking to capitalize with another play getting closer, whether it's something that Cairo Santos has been doing, like Tyler has been saying. He shoots that four-iron shot, the low-line drive. It was good to get the 53 earlier in the day, but he could not clear it there. And
you want to talk about coaching as well? I think there's sound. I believe I heard it this morning when I was listening. Believe there's sound of LaFleur talking about how Rich Bisaccia, who is their special teams coach.
But I will say this. Rich said to our team last night, I will not understand if we come out of this game without a block, whether field goal or PAT. So, great job by our special teams coach.
Yeah,
speaks for itself. I really don't need to add anything. That clip right there speaks for itself. Look, they saw something in the film. They knew that where they may be vulnerable on the line. They knew that the kicker kicks it with a low trajectory.
And look, I'm never one to say, not never. Very rarely do I say, well, it was a penalty. But you have guys who do this for a living. Pat McAfee said it on the McAfee show. This was Teddy Bruschi on Get Up today. Listen to Teddy Bruschi, how adamant this was, that this should not have been allowed.
Let me say about this field goal block, you officials better get on the same page with the rules you give special teams coaches, because that long snapper got obliterated, and you are supposed to protect that long snapper on the back of his head.
And we've seen it called.
If I can get over this long snapper and threaten him that I can run him over, there can be. I mean, you get in long snapper's head. There he is, right there. Right, you can barely see him right there. You see him. There's 3 guys over the long snapper right there. That is a penalty. Right. You cannot do that. It's stressed that you must stay away from the long snapper in the National Football League. Teams know this. They know that Green Bay does this. This has to be fixed because you're giving us one set of rules and you're not calling them on the field.
It's fair.
So again, so maybe he can, boast a good game and say we're going to get one, but we're going to load it up like this. And if they throw a flag, they throw a flag. and we'll try and we'll give up the 5 or whatever it is. But we're gonna give it an opportunity by doing it this way because we feel, and I think that they've said that Teddy said in there that this is something that Green Bay has been known under.
I think it's pronounced Bisaccia.
Yes, Rich
yeah.
Bisaccia.
And remember, Eberflus tried to hire Bisaccia as his special teams coordinator.
Yeah.
They worked together in Dallas, and he was his first choice, but then he took the Green Bay offer after he was the interim head coach of the Raiders. I always liked him, too. Didn't he have a great stash?
Yeah, good facial hair.
Good special teams coordinator.
Yeah, absolutely. No question.
Even though he does cheat.
Runs a little hot, but you like that. Look, I mean, said to you guys, stings, it hurts. There are so many things to go through here, but when I switch, actually, I had to pull all for whatever reason, I was entrusted with bringing all the Christmas ornaments and all the Christmas decorations upstairs yesterday after the early games. I was like, honey, the Chiefs and Bills are playing. And that didn't
on a Sunday?
Work. That didn't work.
What about,
but I promised her I didn't want to do it the night before, and
you
was
had
obviously
Sal
down
thing
here. On Friday. So I said, you know what, on Sunday afternoon I'll do it. So I fulfilled my promise. But as I was going through the Christmas decorations and my son-in-law, actually, I forced him to carry them all upstairs. I just kind of took them down and put them out there for him to carry.
You have a bad back.
That's true. The point I'm making is that I got to tell you the overwhelming feeling that I had, and I'm not compromising anything here. Beating the Packers is ultra important, and I can make a case for you. Had they ended up winning that game, the narrative for this team and this situation going forward would have changed dramatically. At that point, you're 5-5. You just slayed the dragon from up north. You're only a game behind them. The rest of the league stinks.
And you could beat the Vikes.
You can beat the Vikings after a big win. The feeling I was left most with was a feeling of relief is not a strong enough. I felt good about how the quarterback played. Like after 3 games where I told you I felt really bad about how he played. I was not making any excuses for him. I thought, looking at some of the film, the everlasting thought I had after a couple of games is, wow, he's not playing well. I thought he played well yesterday in a lot of ways. And it kind of buoyed my thoughts and my hopes about the future with him. I know he's got talent, but I wanted to see it again. I needed it to be reaffirming to me, and I saw some really good things. Was it 320 yards and 4 touchdowns and no interceptions like Bo Nix? No, it wasn't. But that's okay. We'll get to that point later.
It was still over 300 yards of total offense.
I thought he played. I thought he played well. So, maybe that's just me looking for a bright light in a dark sky. But I
don't think so, because look, I keep going back and forth on a lot of my feelings over this team. They're putting me through the spin cycle where 1 minute I feel positive like you. The next minute I get more angry with the way how they screwed up the offensive coordinator thing so badly. But I don't think it's easy to do what Caleb Williams has done in 2 of the 4 games. Yeah. Yes, there's been a lot of growing pains over that time too. You go on the road in a nationally televised game against one of the upstart teams, and you take your team not once but twice on potential game-winning drives. You screwed it up the first time by calling a play at the goal line by giving it to your backup center/guard. You don't score there. You overcome that, and you still take them on the game-winning drive that doesn't result in the game winner because you screwed up the Hail Mary. But look at a rookie on the road in D.C. in that environment at 4-2, what they were at that time.
Yeah.
He takes them in the 4th quarter, and that doesn't happen a lot. And then a few weeks later against the team that you have lost 10 straight to, and you've just had a couple of bad games against the last couple of games. You just had your offensive coordinator fired. You have a decent game, and you take your team. It would have been the 3rd and 19 game.
Yeah.
The Packers have a 4th and 26 game in their history. This would have been known in Bears history as a 3rd and 19 game. They overcame a 3rd and 19. He got them to 4th and 3. He converts the 4th and 3 on a back shoulder play. He got them in winning position to kick the game-winning field goal against the Packers. The Bears don't beat the Packers, period, let alone go on a game-winning drive to end it at the buzzer. And Caleb Williams has done that twice in the last 4 weeks. If that's not something to get you excited about, I don't know what is. And in those 2 of the 4 games, your head coach has shown you that he is not the answer after he showed you against Denver, Detroit, and Cleveland last year. That's 5 times in the last 2 years. The coach is going to go out the window. The quarterback, despite the coach, is showing you that he is the right guy. Again, this is not just playing well or playing average. This is money on the table time where a rookie is taking you against the Packers and the Commanders on game-winning drives.
Yes. And that's why that was the overwhelming feeling I had yesterday after the game. It superseded the sadness, the anger, and all the other things. Not denying all the other things, but at the end of the day, for me, I've always felt this season was about developing your young quarterback first and foremost, because I didn't expect him to win a Super Bowl in 2024. Would have been 2025, it'd be the 2024 season. So I don't even feel guilty about it. I don't feel guilty about actually watching what transpired yesterday and actually coming away from it going, you know what? I needed that. I needed seeing him playing like that.
Yes.
I needed to see that. Like, that was what was important to me. Like, beating the Packers, absolutely. That it should have happened. It should have happened. That was something that wasn't on the shoulders of the quarterback. The quarterback played well enough to beat the Green Bay Packers. That wasn't his fault that they didn't get the W. I get it. They only scored 19 points. But you took a step back in the right direction. He played a really clean, good game. As you said, got you in position to win the game. He's not the kicker. He's not the snapper. He's not the left guard. He's not anybody attached to the field goal operation. He did his job. And that left me feeling pretty good.
Yeah. And like, again, like, that's the thing. He played very, very well and overcame a lot. So I don't think that is having a what's the term again? A moral
it's not
victory.
A moral victory, no.
Like having realizing that you've got a special quality in a quarterback to win games in the fourth quarter, putting you in position to win a game in the fourth quarter on the road and then against your arch rival. That's more than a moral victory. Number 2, then I get angry because not only did they pick the wrong coach, not only did they pick the wrong offensive coordinator and chose to keep the wrong coach, yet again, doubled down on that decision, they got the offensive coordinator wrong so badly. And the players told you they realized this in OTAs and training camp. Keenan Allen told you, we knew we weren't getting coached correctly by the way they were holding us accountable in OTAs and training camp. If they can install a new play caller in 1 week and it looks that much better like that against your arch rival, it makes me even more mad that Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus got this so badly wrong. And how is Ryan Poles going to get this right in the future going forward? If he couldn't identify that Shane Waldron had no presence, had no plan, had no developmental capabilities, and you could just install Thomas Brown in 1 week, and all of a sudden it just makes sense, it makes me more mad over what they were doing for the last 9 weeks, as if I wasn't mad enough. And how the hell can I trust anybody inside that building even after Eberflus leaves? How? Convince me otherwise.
I can't.
So that's where I am with my team. They don't know when you had an obvious thing hit you in the face. Jim Harbaugh wins everywhere he goes. He's a former Bear. He would have wanted to take over and restore like he restored Bo Schembechler's legacy at Michigan. He would have wanted to do the same with the Bears. You didn't want to pay him, and you were threatened by his personality. You had it at the right time in the right place last year. Wins everywhere he went. Now, the same team that doesn't want a swear word on Hard Knocks, you're going to let Mike Vrabel come into your building? You don't want a swear word on Hard Knocks. You're going to let a presence like Mike Vrabel run the operation?
I think that's all Mike uses is swear words.
So how are we going to get this right going forward?
I don't know.
And that's where I am. So that's the evil spin cycle I'm on today, where, yes, I feel good about Caleb. But how are we not going to let him and the rest of the fan base down going forward like they have continued to do since Lovie Smith left? And they got it wrong with Trustman. They got it wrong with Fox. They got it wrong with Nagy. And now they've got it wrong with Eberflus.
I can't give you any good answer. Devoid of them. Listen, I'll add to it as well. Like all of what you said, I agree with. I'm not really high on how the players were responding to it prior to yesterday either. To block for each other on wide receiver screens, all that takes is effort. They weren't doing it. They did it yesterday. It was on display. Why? Whether or not you don't think your coach is coaching you hard enough or he's not coaching you correctly, whatever the case may be, I have evidence. Obviously, the message, it was delivered yesterday because Thomas Brown somehow, some way, got a bunch of professionals to actually block for each other. Why did it take that? Why should it take that? Like, if you watch the film of them blocking for each other yesterday and you compare it to the previous games, you'd be like, these are two separate teams.
It shouldn't take that.
So it shouldn't.
No.
Again, like,
but they obviously
more
weren't playing for the offensive coordinator.
That's
they
fine.
quit on the offensive coordinator.
Right. And two conversations can be had at the same time. That needed to be changed, and these guys also need to be held accountable for not handling a difficult situation. When adversity strikes, and the adversity may be that this coach isn't the right guy, you still have to be a professional.
Sure.
So when you put it all into the vat and you stir it up, it's
bad.
It tastes like poo.
Crap stew.